How is Samurai Jack going to end? This is the question we've been wondering for over 12 years now. And Jack, he's been waiting over 50 years. But now, with just 2 episodes left as of the time of this recording, we'll finally know the answer here in just a week or so. What if I told you that Genndy has already left us all the clues we need to figure out how this is going to end? Hello everyone, my name is Lance090, and in this video I'm going to tell you how Jack is going to end if we look at all the clues that Gendy's been leaving for us, as well as studying the plot hooks. The first thing we need to look at, which helps us narrow down the possible outcomes for the series, is something that Genndy himself has said. In an interview he hosted near the premiere of Season 5, he took some fan questions. One of the fan questions he was asked was how the show would end. Of course, Genndy wasn't about to actually answer that question, but he did say that the ending would be bittersweet. Now, as little information as this actually tells us a lot of things we need to know. It really narrows down the list here. Something good's going to happen and something bad's going to happen. Given what we know about the plot of Samurai Jack, this leaves us with just 2 possibilities as far as I can tell. The most obvious one would be that Jack defeats Aku but dies. I think this is way too easy of a way out for Genndy to take with the series. Given the quality of the writing in Season 5 so far, this just seems like a real cop-out, and I don't think he's going to do something like that. It's not really a good ending for anyone, and I'm not even sure it would be really considered that bittersweet. I think that would just be a bad ending overall. But I'm sure he wants to write something a lot more interesting than that. Not to mention, how the hell would this even happen? If you think about it, Jack had Aku on the ropes in episode 1. He had Aku defeated in the very first episode, and that was only with like 20 years of his training that he went through. Most of which wasn't even training with his sword. Most of it was just other kinds of training. But he defeats Aku easily in the first episode. And Aku just tricks him into going and throwing him into the time portal. So it's hard to imagine, after 50 more years of experience that he's picked up in the meantime, how the hell Aku would be able to defeat Jack again, especially if he's not going to fall for the same trick twice. So I don't think there's any way for Aku to actually kill Jack, and I don't think any of Aku's minions would also be able to kill him. The only ones we've even seen so far is Scaramouche and Demongo, and he defeated Scaramouche and he defeated Demongo a long time ago. So I don't think Aku's going to be able to kill Jack. There's the 7 sisters of Aku, but Jack also kicked the shit out of them, if you think about that as well. These were 7 children that were trained from birth for the sole purpose of killing Jack. And they had him on the ropes for that first episode, but he kills one of them. And then later on, he gets prepared, he finally gets back into his right mindset, and kills 2, like, within a minute, as soon as the fight starts. And then tosses 3 more over the cliff, and so on. So, stabs 1 to a tree. So, these characters were completely designed to kill Jack, and they failed. And they were humans too, they weren't the robots like everything else. So, if they couldn't defeat Jack, what could? And I really don't think that Aku can do it. So I really don't see this being the way things end here. Something that Jack's been mentioning a few times throughout the entire series is that his mission actually has 2 parts. The obvious one, of course, is reiterated at the intro of every episode, which is to get back to the past and defeat Aku there. That way, Aku won't be able to reign over the future. But as an additional goal, he's also said he just wants to defeat Aku in the future. So I think that's what's going to be the main focus here, is I think Jack is going to be able to defeat Aku in the future, but he won't be able to go back to the past. All Season 5, Jack's been saying that there's no way home and that there's no hope left. In the episode where he gets his sword back, as well as episode 2, Aku also states that he's destroyed every time portal in existence. So take that for what you will, but we know that Aku has some kind of limited omnipotence where he knows almost everything that's going on the planet, as far as we know. And he can open up that window in his firehouse thing. I don't know what to call it, pit of hate, and you can see almost anywhere. So when Aku says that he's destroyed every time portal, I'm kind of inclined to believe him, especially when Jack is also in agreement with Aku that all the time portals are gone. And I know some people are saying, or arguing, that this might not include the Guardian's portal, but as I've said, both Aku and Jack have said there's no portals left. And I also don't know, like, would the Guardian even be able to fight off Aku if Aku did find him? Because as far as we know, Jack's sword is the only thing that can defeat Aku, and any amount of being powerful as he might be isn't going to stop Aku because he's immortal. So if Aku didn't know where the Guardian was, he'd be able to destroy his portal and it wouldn't matter. Because there's no way the Guardian would be able to defeat Aku himself. And not to mention, if Jack did think that the Guardian portal was still alive, or still around, he probably would have told Aoshi by now. That would be where they would be traveling next, is to get to this portal, because, like we've talked about, Jack has 50 more years more experience than he was the last time he fought him. And he also has Aoshi with him now, who could also help him out in this fight. And he'd be able to get through the portal, but he hasn't mentioned that, and there's only 2 episodes left, so I don't see Jack being able to, or I don't see the Guardian portal still being around. And even if the portal does still exist, I don't even think Jack's going to want to go back. Jack's in this relationship now with Aoshi as of the last episode, which is some people upset, and I don't really care either way, but overall that felt more like a filler episode if anything. But ignore my neighbor's dog, I'm sorry, he won't shut up. But yeah, he's in love with Aoshi now. He's not going to want to leave Aoshi behind. And beyond just Aoshi, he has all these friends and everyone he's made allies with, like the Scotsman and all the other characters that he's made friends with and allies and saved from death by Aku. And Aoshi's insertion seems kind of odd. And that makes me think that since Jack has always traveled alone for all these episodes and all these years, I think she's just a plot device to keep Jack from going back to the past. When you think about it, Jack's really lived longer in the future than he has in the past at this point. We don't know exactly how long he was in the past, but we saw the montage of all his training where he went through childhood and was a teenager and finally an adult. He got the sword. I mean, at most he could probably be 30, which I think that's a really high number probably, and at least probably 20. So somewhere in there, but either way, 20, 30, it doesn't matter. That's a lot less time than 50 years. And if he spent that much more time in the future making all these friends and allies, I don't see why he would feel like he needs to go back to the past anymore. We're gonna have to talk about time travel here. That always gets confusing. But as far as we know in the Samurai Jack universe, the time travel is linear. So if you think about like Dragon Ball Z, when Trunk travels to the past, he doesn't actually travel to the past of his own universe. He travels to the past of a different universe. And that's which is the one we're watching. And that's because one of the big theories about the multiverse and time travel is because of all the paradoxes that can come about from going to the past, that the only way to actually travel into the past is to travel into the past of a different universe, and that you can never really travel into the past of your own universe. However, in Jack, it's the opposite. As far as everyone's explained, and as far as Jack seems concerned, if he goes back to the past, everything in the future is going to change. If he defeats a coup, he's gone forever. So it's linear. And so that creates a big moral question. If Jack goes back and kills a coup, none of the people he knows are going to exist anymore. They'll all cease existing. I'm sure you've heard of the butterfly effect before. It came from the short story The Sound of Thunder. They make a time machine and they go back in time to study the dinosaurs. And one of them accidentally steps on a butterfly. When they come back, the world is completely changed around them. So, just to kind of explain how that might happen is, step on the butterfly, maybe that butterfly was supposed to be eaten by a spider, now the spider dies off because it's starved, and with the spiders gone, maybe like flies get out of control, and since flies came out of control, there's like way more frogs than there used to be to eat them. And it just kind of keeps spiraling up like that until perhaps like a mammoth starves to death later because of these chain of events. Because that mammoth starved to death, now a human family starves, and that human family would eventually have an ancestor that would invent fire. And so now the entire world history is completely different because we have to invent fire however much longer it would take to figure it out. And everything would change around that, which is basically what the butterfly effect is. So, if that would happen from just stepping on a butterfly, imagine Aku, he's this huge, evil overlord dictator who's completely taken over the world and has some influence even off planet. He exerts so much influence on the timeline, killing him in the past is going to make things incredibly different in the future. So no one's going to exist anymore that Jack's ever met in the future, because there's no way they would ever exist again, because things would be changed just so much. So even if he does have the ability to go back in time, I don't think Jack's going to take it. It's just, he has a moral question there if doing that is going to be the right thing to do, and these aren't the things that Jack would go for. So when you look at all the plot hooks and details, how the show will end seems pretty obvious. Jack's going to defeat Aku, but he's not going to make it back to the past. He won't want to leave Ashley behind or any of his friends and allies. And possibly there's not even going to be a time portal to get home, or, as I've talked about, even if there is a time portal to get back home, he's not going to want to go home because of the morale of the others. So, that's it. That's how I think Samurai Jack's going to end. I'd say that is how it's going to end, just because I'm so confident and that's how things are going to play out. Because I think Genndy has given us all the clues we need to know to figure this out. And I'd almost be willing to bet money on it. So, there you go. Hope y'all enjoyed, and have a good day.